Hello everyone, my name is Chen. Welcome to my presentation on adaptive reuse. Let's start with a little bit about me. My interest in abandoned buildings began back when I was a little boy. I always wondered why there were so many around. My curiosity only grew as time went by. It was when I was studying interior design at university that I found out most of my projects were based on renovating old buildings, because that was where most of the work is. This led me to wonder, if that is the case, then why are there still so many empty buildings? So, what is adaptive reuse? To put it in simple terms, adaptive reuse refers to the process of reusing an existing building for a purpose other than which it was originally built or designed, and to give it a new lease of life. There are three types of adaptations. The first type is a facade reuse. This usually involves one or two exteriors preserved to give a historical look, while a new structure is built behind it. The second is through renovation. When a building's exterior structure is still in reasonably good shape, the interiors will get renovated to today's building standards for the proposed use. And lastly, extensions and integration. This is when new adaptation requires extra space for the new use. It can be easily distinguished by looking at the building. An extension is usually added to the existing building, whereas integration, the original building becomes part of the new build. As the world undergoes constant expansion and redevelopment, it is important to recognize the benefits of adaptive reuse. These can be broadly summarized into three categories. The first is social benefits. This includes historical value, memory of the local residents, educational value, and an added sense of community. And second, the environmental benefits include lower carbon footprint from extraction and transport of raw and new materials, lower water and energy consumption from cleaning and clearing demolished sites, and reduced waste to landfill. And lastly, economic benefits with lower establishment costs as services are already in place. Resurgence of traditional trades such as stained glass production and sustains jobs in preservation sector. It also helps the local economy as traditional buildings source materials locally. There are many factors that may affect the decision if a building is adapted for new use or not. These include the condition of the building, the historical value, the listed category, and the cost. As such, each play an important role as to whether a building becomes a candidate for adaptation, and in some cases, it is a deciding factor between adaptation and demolition. So, what are the impacts of adaptive reuse on the local community? Depending on the adaptation, there could be different possibilities on what it might bring to community. These include potential tourism, work, and in some cases it could bring the community together. From my online survey, I found that most people felt that less than 20% of the buildings get adapted for new use, and a massive 80% believe they do not have an influence on what the buildings get adapted into. When I asked about the preference of buildings adaptations, I got different results from different age groups. The age group 18 to 34-year-olds has clear preference on entertainment facilities, and the age group 35 to 54 preferred housing. And when you look at 55 and upwards, they preferred community spaces. I was blessed with the opportunity to interview an assistant city planner at Edinburgh City Council. Although the interview was relatively long, many of my questions got answered. Just to summarise, I found that money was typically the main barrier when it came to adaptation. The location and the age heavily influenced the wants and the needs of the people, and the lack of community activity was generally caused by the misinformation and the complicated and hard to reach applications. With this in mind, my design proposal is the OSNP platform, which stands for Old Space, New Purpose. The platform is a website that is user-friendly that allows the user to easily view and search abandoned buildings. It also provides in-depth information about each and every building and useful links to the Council's website to make the application process easier. In addition, it comes with an app that focuses on exploration of the surrounding areas. This is Jimmy. One day he stumbles upon an abandoned building and realizes it's been like that for a long time. He gets really confused and then wonders, what can I do with this building? He then decides to check the government website to look for some additional information. However, he was overwhelmed by information and he got really annoyed because it was so hard to navigate. He then finds the OSNP website, which is really easy to use and which gives him an idea. The easy to use map shows that there are more abandoned buildings in his area. With a click of a button, he finds in-depth information about each building that is clearly displayed. With such a good initial impression, he decides to download the app. Once he found out the purpose of the app, he decides to go on a journey around his neighbourhood to explore other buildings. As he walks along the road, he sees a bunch of other users crossing the road, and then decides to go have a chat with them about the building he saw. After some discussion, they all had a similar idea. One of the users that have been using the app for a while tells them they can look for a community body to apply for community use. Through everyone's support and the wider community's activity, the local council has approved the use of the abandoned building. Through crowdfunding and government grants, the building is now fully repaired and ready for community use. There are many collaboration opportunities with many different companies and organisations, but the one I find most suitable is Pokemon Go. With over 1 billion downloads worldwide and 147 million active users at any given moment, and their large pool of users being in the younger age group, it is clear the advantages this collaboration could bring. The second is Glasgow City Council, which means they can provide up-to-date information for all parties on the current sites. The collaboration between these three parties could create the best symbiotic relationship which can achieve the possibilities of raising awareness of the current issues and abandoned buildings, while providing a platform with easy to access information. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day.